Welcome race fans to the 2015 New South Wales Formula V Championship, Round 1, Race 2, Wakefield Park Raceway.
And of course in race 1 we saw a brilliant performance from Ryan Reynolds, a race victory for him. His first of the season. Michael Kinsella and Jason Cutts in his return to Formula V, making up the top 3. And they of course reflect the starting grid for this
5-second board.
Second race here at Wakefield Park.
Okay, ready to go. Great effort by Jason Cutts, and they're away. Good start there by Kinsella. Ryan Reynolds looks like he's about to tuck in, although he does get a little bit on the inside.
Yeah, he got a nice jump, did Ryan Reynolds, and that inside line always helps you at Wakefield Park. Into the first corner we go. Dylan Thomas slipping up there on the outside, just on the outside of Cutts there as they go into turn 2.
A nice solid field here in the first round. Looks like we've got about nearly 30 cars on board with Matty Bode as he takes off. There's a great start from Simon Pace, who's had a bit of a drama after contact with Daniel Stein in the first race.
Yeah, watching them two come through. Actually, Stoney didn't start this one. A few mechanical dramas ruled him out, but watching Simon Pace come through will be a very entertaining, enjoyable ride with him. Well, that's for sure.
Great on board here from Timmy Brook, Thomas White of the outside of Jason Cutts. Jason Cutts doing a fantastic job, not having raced for a couple of years.
And of course, filling in for Anil Darren Williams. We wish him well as they make their way up to the top of the hill for the first time.
So you got the old Jason in front of the new Jason. The new Jason's doing a fantastic job. Won the national championship last year.
And a star-studded field here as they make their way up to the top of the hill. You can see Ryan Reynolds leading. Michael Kinsella sitting there in second spot. The battle's going to be between them two, that's for sure. Looks like Dylan Thomas has got his way up in a third spot. Then Cutts. Then, of course, you go back to Timmy Brook.
And James Horn not far behind. And then you've also got Matty Pearce in the brand new Mako from Frank Kleining. Yeah,
exactly right.
Jeff Bennett. There was Johnny Mack was there behind him, was he?
I think so, yeah. And
okay, here's a 1200 battle. You got Bernie Cannon. There's sorry, that wasn't Bernie Cannon in front. That must have been Steve Cannon. They've got a similar livery now.
They do indeed.
Thomas to second, inside of Kinsella.
Brilliant move from Thomas up there on the inside. He'll now challenge, of course, Ryan Reynolds. He is the defending champion, and he's proving that.
Matty Bode up the inside of Jacob Andrews here.
Good move there on the inside. Gets the job done nice and cleanly as they go down the main straight. Look at them all tuck to the inside straight away.
Thomas looks to go around the outside of Ryan Reynolds. That's a long way to go. He might get cut out wide here by Kinsella, but no.
No, Kinsella yields as they go into turn 2 once more. Very good start from Reynolds, as you say. They all tuck into the inside there, and basically the message is clear right from the start. If you want to get past, you've got to go the long way around. Thomas tried that, couldn't quite get it done.
He's on board with Matt Bodors, pulls his nose in before it gets taken off by Jeff Bathyway there.
The rest of the field making their way through the 1200 battle continues. They head up to the top of the hill once more. We find our race leaders again. It's Ryan Reynolds. So brilliant yesterday, was he? And Michael Kinsella sitting there, third spot now, behind, of course, the defending champion Thomas, who didn't win a trophy race all season until about round 5 last year, and then, of course, managed to win the race on the second last race of the season as they make their way out of the fish hook once more.
There's Aaron Pace going through. Aaron Pace making his debut season this year, the son of Simon Pace, the Pacey family. Here you go. It is Bernie in front of in front of Steve Cannon there, and Butcher's a bit further back than we'd expect him.
He certainly is, and of course you mentioned the Pace boys, Simon and Aaron. Bit of a rivalry going on there this year. It'll be interesting to see if the young man can, of course, get on top of Simon at any point during the season. And Simon hasn't yet had the pace so far in 2015, as we see a couple of moves down here on the inside. Bode getting there as well. And I think it was William Pym up there on the outside as they make their way back down the main straight once more. Another lap gone. Look at Reynolds holding the inside line. On the outside, Dylan Thomas trying to get the move done. Here comes Cutts tucking into his slipstream. Kinsella's on the inside as well. Status quo as they go through turn 2. Up to the top of the hill will go. The rest of the field making their way through nice and cleanly at the moment. And here we are back on board with Matty Bode. Jeez, we've had a lot from him so far, and he's proving to be very entertaining, making another move up there on the inside as they make their way out of turn 2. Once more, the 10-turn, 2.2 kilometre Wakefield Park circuit. As we get back to the fish hook once more. Oh, Thomas was very wide there as they entered the fish hook, almost clipping the dirt. But Reynolds leads them through.
And a bit further back in the pack, it looks like that was Aaron Pace making up another position as well. So, only on his debut season, but clearly has already learned a lot from his father.
Second outing, this is of course the first round for the championship. They've had a club round here at Wakefield Park in February with the Formula V 50th anniversary as well. Now we get stuck into Cam's championship mode. Second race of the season. Down the main straight we go once more. Again they tuck to the inside. It's all about protecting the line, protecting your position, and doing that very nicely at the moment is the Canberra boy, Ryan Reynolds.
Dylan Thomas having to move to the inside as well to hold off Michael Kinsella and also Jason Cutts. And just behind those two, I think it was James Horn a bit further back in the pack as well.
Yeah, Horn, of course, having a not so decent start to the season. He was right up the point end last year. He's lost a little bit of pace over the summer. Let's see if he can make that back as they go into the fishhook once more. He's right on the tail of Timmy Brook, who has lost a little bit to Cutts, who is, of course, behind Kinsella, Thomas and Reynolds in that order, who leads the way. The orange car, the ACT boy, the number 9, leading the field early on. There's, I think, Alan Harrison going through there as well. And not too far back in the order was William Pym.
Yeah, so the other two CXC Global Racing Stingers of William Pym and Matthew Bode making progress through the field. William Pym, of course, out of a race simulator type background where he's been doing a lot of, well, I suppose, more advanced computer games to learn his way around racetracks.
That's exactly right, and very interesting these days too, isn't it? When you have a look at the racing background of some people, more and more are creeping in with that sim-like technology, and we've got a car off on the outside of the circuit there. A bit hard to see who that was. We might be able to pick that car up as it comes through. Oh, it's had another spin as well.
Number 55 car there. I think that's one of the 1200cc class cars.
I think you're right. As we go back down the main straight, that car manages to get back going. I know you'll try and find out who that is for us as we make our way through turn 1 once more and 2. Robert Reynolds there on the inside, holding his line, holding the top position at the moment. He's the man to catch.
He was very, very strong in the Formula V 50th anniversary meeting, Ryan Reynolds, until we had that contretemps with Daniel Stein in the very final race of the weekend. But,
Wayne Hamilton was that car that we were looking forward to, sorry.
Yeah, has decided to commit to doing the full New South Wales State Formula V Championship in 2015, has Ryan Reynolds. His brother Daniel Reynolds, a 4-time champion at this level.
And Reynolds, of course, Ryan, that is... Not only is that a good thing for him, but it's a good thing for the sport to have another competitive man up front. Making our way through the fishhook, always one of the tricky corners to get through on this circuit. You know, if you can get a good run out of the fishhook, you set yourself up for the rest of the lap. The rest of the lap's pretty easy compared to that. Back to the main straight we go. Thomas tucking in behind Reynolds there. Kinsella's on his tail. Brooks there as well. As they make their way down the main straight. Another lap gone here at Wakefield Park. Season 2015, great to have the V's back here as they make their way down the main straight. Look at Thomas having a look up there on the outside of Reynolds. Still Reynolds has the straight line speed and he'll hold on to position number 1 as they go into turn 2 once more. Up the hill we go. This is a fantastic battle with Cutts tucking in there as well. There's nothing in it at the moment. Reynolds holding on from Thomas, from Kinsella, and then of course Cutts, of course, filling in for Darren Williams. We said at the top that Williams isn't well, that's why he's not here. Cutts is in the chair for him, and we wish Williams well.
The problem with trying to make the outside move there through turns 1 and 2 is you'll leave yourself vulnerable to the car behind if you get forced wide. So Thomas there was having a look on the outside of Reynolds, but Michael Kinsella almost got up the inside.
Indeed he did. Making our way out of the fishhook once more. They'll head into turn number 9 and then the run down towards turn number 10. Great pictures coming out of Wakefield Park in Goulburn on a beautiful day here in April. As we continue round 1 of the championship. Round 2, of course, at Sydney Motorsport Park in 3 weeks' time. They're back here in June for round 3. As they make their way through, we've got, it looks like Matty Bode and Aaron Pace there coming through. And Jeff Bennett, I think, was the red car going through there as well as they make their way back down the main straight once more. Reynolds holding on at the moment. There's nothing in this between the top 4. Kinsella looking up on the outside. Cutts looking up on the outside, I should say. Cutts going in front of Kinsella. So Cutts goes to 3rd. It's a rare occasion in where the slipstream has actually worked for him to the point where he's had enough momentum and enough speed to get up there on the outside. So Cutts goes to 3rd.
Great run there. Keep in mind too that this was Jason Cutt's first race for quite some time, taking over from Darren Williams in that car and doing a great job.
Indeed he is. Making our way through there. There's Alan Harrison, I think, in the Stinger car, going through the fishhook once more as they make their way down the main straight. Another lap complete here at Wakefield Park. A lengthy race, this one. The lengths this weekend, 18 yesterday, 16 laps for this one, and then of course you've got the 20 lapper coming up this afternoon. Race 3 of the championship will be a lengthy one here at Wakefield Park. A small program for the state championship here this weekend, hence why everyone's been given a few extra laps as we have a look at this. Up on the outside, Thomas, no, he can't get the job done again. Reynolds, too quick in a straight line, and once Thomas pulls out of the draft, he leaves himself out to dry as he now looks up on the inside going into turn 3, but he'll leave himself on the outside for 4, and unfortunately that means that Reynolds will hold on for the moment from the defending champion, who just is there but not there quite yet in terms of the pace this weekend. He's there or thereabouts, just not on top of it, and Reynolds holds on at the moment as they make their way through the fishhook once more. Brilliant field of V's here at Wakefield Park for the opening event of the season.
We saw a bit further back in the pack, I think that was Morgan Fremantle getting overtaken at turn 2 as well. A bit earlier on in the lap, the race leaders head back to the main straightaway. Out of turn number 10, they've been pretty much inseparable for most of this race.
Indeed they have. The top 4 continue to battle. They go down the main straight. Look at Kinsella up on the outside of Thomas. Will that work for him? Not yet. What about the switchback as they head up the hill? Let's have a look at this. It's a good battle between Kinsella and Thomas. Kinsella now on the outside as they head to 3. Thomas holds on as they hit the top of the hill once more. And now we go back to the battle for the minors.
Pace car in there. And down into the fishhook now. Ryan Reynolds just managing to extend a car length or so over Dylan Thomas at this stage.
There's Pearce going through as well. And then Bennett. And then Fremantle, as Lachlan alluded to, as they come back into the bottom corner. Lap traffic playing a part here. They go back down the main straight. Lap traffic doing very nicely, getting out of the way there as they make their way down the main straight. Here's Bode, we're on board with him once more.
And Morgan Fremantle just in front, so he makes up a spot. Laps traffic again doing a very good job. The blue flag's waving to warn them that the race leaders are coming through. They just sidestep off the racing line and make sure that they don't unnecessarily impede the front runners.
And that's their job. That's what they've got to do, and they do it very well most of the time. But at the moment, no trouble so far with the lap traffic as we make our way through the first couple of corners here. Here's Reynolds leading the way at the moment. Look at this. Thomas second, Kinsella third. Then you go back to Cuts. Timmy Brook and James Horn having an almighty ding-dong there as well. Pearce and also, I think you go back to Jeff Bennett there, sitting 7th and 8th at the moment, and that looks like Morgan Fremantle coming into picture as well as we make our way through. And then Aaron Pace sitting there as well. William Pym's in that battle, so too Alan Harrison as they come down the main straight. The battle for the 1200s, they're 3 wide. Our race leaders come back to the main straight, the 1600s, and it's Reynolds still holding on. He's led all the way so far, and he's not looking challenged at the moment.
Well, he's not exactly comfortable either. He's still got 3 very fast cars right behind him, but those top 4 cars have all broken away from the rest of the field at this stage. There's the 2 CXC cars of Matthew Bode and William Pym. Their teammate Jacob Andrews a bit further up the road.
That's right.
And here's the 3-wide battle between the 1200cc class cars. Stephen Butcher there going side by side with Steve and Bernie Cannon.
Now that's going to be really interesting in a couple of laps because there are our race leaders and the 1200s are only a small margin up the road. Watching them navigate their way through those 3 who are in their own separate ding-dong class battle, that will be very interesting, although the 1600s will be given the advantage. Oh, a spinner there. Looked like one of the cars going really wide and possibly spinning as well from CXC.
Was that William Pym or Jacob Andrews? It might have been.
Yeah, it might have been Andrews, I think, from memory. As they make their way through, there's, of course, Pearce and Bennett. And one of the pace cars was in there as well. Simon's had a great run through the field in this one. I knew he would. He, of course, started at the back after an incident with Daniel Stein at this very corner of the fishhook in race 1. There's Bode coming through there on the inside.
A Fremantle with the fishhook. Oh, almost a touch. You have to be so careful in these cars not to lock wheels. Still side by side on the run into turn 9 as Morgan Fremantle shuts the door.
And that's the one thing as well. As Lachlan said, you've got to be so careful not to bump wheels, because if you bump wheels, that's it. They usually bend or snap or do something. And therefore, you've got to be very, very careful as they make their... It doesn't stop them from racing that closely together, I might add. But there we go. Through the bottom corner and back to the main straight, the rest of the field. Starting to just even itself out at the moment and just, settle things down a little bit. It was an intense opening few laps, and now we're into the second half of the race here at Wakefield Park. Look at this. Ryan Reynolds goes to the outside of the 1200s. That works for him. Look at Kinsella coming up on the outside of Thomas. That's not going to work for him. They get balked by lap traffic. That'll be enough for Reynolds. Get the margin he needs. As Lachlan said earlier, he wasn't comfortable. He wasn't being challenged, but he wasn't comfortable. Now getting past the lap traffic, that'll get him to a comfortable margin over the rest of the pack.
Yep, well, Ryan Reynolds caught the 1200cc cars on the main straight. By the time Dylan Thomas and Michael Kinsella got up to them, they were already into the corner, so definitely worked to the disadvantage of Thomas and Kinsella there.
And to the advantage of Reynolds as the rest of the field makes their way through. Bennett, there he is, having an alright run. There's Fremantle. Keep an eye out for, that's one of the last of the 1200s coming through. Now, coming through the fishhook, we've got the likes of Bode and Aaron Pace, I think it is in front of him at the moment. Look at that, almost well-to-well contact again. They're not holding any prisoners at the moment. Oh boy, back to the main straight. This is an almighty battle up front. As I said, Reynolds has got that comfortable margin, although it's still only 2 or 3 car lengths, but in Formula V, that's all you need.
And it's just enough of a margin at this stage to break the slipstream of the cars behind, so they're not getting any advantage out of the draft down the main straightaway, which is really the only place here at Wakefield Park where you do get any sort of tow.
That's exactly right. We make our way through. We'll wait and see. We, as I said, we're into the second half of the race now. It isn't a 16-lapper. Yesterday was 18. We've got a 20-lapper coming up this afternoon. We'll also bring you that race as they make their way down the main straight. We've got absolutely nothing on screen at the moment. It's a nice day at Wakefield Park. A little bit cloudy, but no rain threatening as we look at Reynolds. Kinsella up on the inside of Thomas. There's the move to second that we've been waiting for. The defending champion being challenged, and he's back to third.
Slotted up the inside there at turn number 1, and by the time they got to turn 2, he was able to cover his line. Thomas wasn't able to do the switchback as the battles continue with the pace cars a little bit further back in the pack. When we talk about pace cars, of course, we're not referring to the safety car variety. And there's Morgan Fremantle as well, looking on the inside of Matthew Bode. That's been a pretty healthy battle between those 2 cars, just on the fringe of the top 10. And James Horn battling as well
with Timmy Brook. And that was, I think, Simon Pace battling with Matthew Pearce and Jeff Bennett there a short while ago as well. Keep an eye out for Simon Pace, because, as we said, he missed out in race 1 after contact with Daniel Stein. And Daniel Stein, that ruled him out for the weekend. The problem with Steiny's car was he just couldn't stop the oil from dripping. He did everything he could, worked so much, spent so much time working on the car to try and get it repaired, and just couldn't get it back right, and he had the problems there as we see a little bit of a move further back in the pack. That was Brook being passed by James Horn. 4 position there, so Horn up into 5th spot. Good times here for Brook and Horn at Wakefield Park as we bring you race 2, round 1 of the State Formula V Championship in New South Wales for 2015. Proudly presented by Cams. And
Matthew Bode up the inside.
Park.
Bruce Perry there at turn number 10 makes the move through. James Horn and Tim Brooke continuing their battle as well. They've just lost touch with the race leaders at the moment. And up on the outside comes the Tim Brooke car. Here's this battle as well.
Yeah.
Bruce Perry back down the inside of Matthew Bode at turn 2.
Actually, I think you'll find that was Horn on the inside of Brooke there. Sorry, Lachlan. Just having a look at the difference between the two cars. I think that was the Jeep car of Timmy Brooke out of the CXC stable as they make their way down into turn 1 and 2 once more. There's Bode and that's Bruce Perry and Alan Harrison, the 31 I think it was there as well. So they make their way out of turn number 8 once more. This is of course the fishhook. There's Pierce, had a good run in the 1200s here at the 50th anniversary, then made the move up into the 16s.
Yep, formerly an outright state championship contender, Matthew Pearce, but over the last couple of years he's been playing around in the 1200s and switching between them and the 1600cc cars. Still always runs there or thereabouts when he's in the 1600s. There's Simon Pace. He started at the back of the field. He's had to fight his way back through after that DNF in the earlier race.
Yeah, indeed he has. We seem to have lost Jeff Bennett there. We saw the red car there a short while ago, but it looks like he slipped back a few spots. And now down the main straight we go. We remind you that Reynolds is the leader. Kinsella has got past Thomas. Now he's looking to go and get past Ryan Reynolds. Look at this on the outside. No! Oh, there's a touch! Kinsella's in the dirt! Well, he had 2 wheels in the dirt, then gathered it up, got back on track, didn't lose any positions, but Ryan Reynolds holds onto the lead. Look at this from on board with Timmy Brooke as he's trying to get up on the outside of Horn. Horn up on, he's inside, and now Horn takes the 5th position back from Timmy Brooke.
Yeah, that's also a pretty healthy battle, isn't it, between those two cars. Tim Brooke, the 2013 State Formula V champion, and James Horn, a relative newcomer to the category, was very fast on occasions last year.
Yeah.
Even took a race win at Wakefield Park, but hasn't been quite so competitive this season.
Out of the fishhook we go. Kinsella being challenged by Dylan Thomas there at the moment. Back we go. Brooke and, of course, Horn. Horn in front of that battle at the moment. There's Pierce and Aaron Pace, or Simon Pace, I should say. There. Bennett off at the top of the hill. I knew something had happened to Bennett. That was him at the top of the hill. Bowed up on his inside.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame for Jeff Bennett, who was running pretty competitively.
Yeah. Had a great run. We lost him off the screen for a couple of moments there, and now we know what's happened to him. He went off at the top of the hill. Now we go back to the main straight. We are on board with Timmy Brooke and Matty Bode in this race for you.
Bit of dust getting kicked up there at turn 9 as the car ran a little bit wide.
Not long left in this race here. Formula V, Wakefield Park. Last lap board is indicated. This time by. Now look at Kinsella up on the outside. Thomas was trying to get up on his inside. Didn't work for him, so Kinsella goes to the 2nd position now. Thomas getting past some lap traffic, and look at Cuts. He's been left out to dry in that battle. This battle between Brooke and Horn still going on. Horn up there on the inside holding on to 5th. Now Pierce getting up on the inside of Simon Pace as well. Sorry, I know you were about to jump in there.
So on to the final lap now, and another great performance from Ryan Reynolds. He's had a bit more pressure compared to what he had at the 50th anniversary meeting in the first 2 races there, where he was pretty much unstoppable. But once again, he's come to the fore here at Wakefield Park, and apart from that race where he tangled with Daniel Stein, he's going to continue his perfect record of race victories for season 2015 as we have a look a bit further back in the pack.
Bode still having a battle there with
Andrews.
It looks like, Andrews. So we make our way through the infield for the last time.
That might have actually been Butcher in the 1200 that he was putting a lap down.
I think you're right actually as we go to the last corner. The checkered flag in the air. Ryan Reynolds, dominant at Wakefield Park this year. 5 starts, 4 wins, 2nd in the state championship. First round, 2 wins. Doesn't get much better than that. He'll go for 3 from 3 this afternoon. Brilliant performance from Reynolds. 2nd spot to, of course, Michael Kinsella. Then Dylan Thomas and, of course, Jason Cutts. Then we go back to I think it's going to be James Horn from Timmy Brook. Yes, it is. And then Matty Pearce rounding out the top 7 as well. Great racing here at Wakefield Park. Geez, it was tight between Horn and Brook there at the end as well.
And Matthew Bone, who was in the thick of the action in that race, finishing up in at 10th position as well.
15, Ryan Reynolds, as the results are confirmed there for you on your screen. Horn in 5th, Brook in 6th. That was a great battle. That'll resume this afternoon. And now Simon Pace is back there. All those 7 are contenders this afternoon when we go racing. The 1200s, Bernie Cannon from Stephen Butcher and Lyle Moyes, back with race 3 a little bit later on.